Hey everybody, so it's me and my co-host here today. It is December 7th. This should go out on December 10th. Yeah, everything is going great. We just tried to upgrade things to Angular 19. In yesterday's video, so fortunately the, I have a very small audience, so I can be pretty focused. I mean, I can give a lot of attention to things, but so this guy, is a really cool dude that or person that looks at my videos and makes comments and likes stuff. So that's awesome. But asks, hey, what are you trying to build here? Like with Three.js, are you trying to include GLB models in the future? And I did answer, but honestly, like if you look at the last video that I uploaded, which was on December 6th, which I believe was 310. So this is a question that's in which is 312. Um, Basically, I spend a good bit of time just playing around with the fog and seeing how fog works and all that. And I could totally see myself like when you're when you do coding for a living, what happens is you do a lot of debating about abstractions, things that you don't necessarily know or understand. And one of the things that I could have imagined myself debating is, hey, unless there's light, you are going to have fog, blah, 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 blah. I think it makes total sense that fog would only interact with light. A fog would not, like if you were looking at a black scene with like a ground and all that, you wouldn't see anything with fog unless there was a light involved and that's false. And so there's like I was in that last video, the video that I uploaded today. I configure and I play around with the fogs and look at the different things and then see how they interact with different meshes and things like that. And that, thank you, Rhett. And that would have been extremely difficult. To that little thing would have been very, very difficult to just code. And that was the main reason for this application. But along the way, I also wanted to sort of formalize or more like a lot of what I know in coding and in life and in general is like sort of configured. Like I just know how to do it, but I don't know exactly what all the steps to doing it are. And that's how coding had become for me in many, many ways. And I wanted to get a way to sort of take all the stuff that's just sort of baked into me uh, and convert that into, let's see what happens. Um, See what happens if and try to turn it into formalized steps. And this project, doing these online, that's been something that I really have wanted to do, is be able to do that. And then number three, well, there's so many things, but a third thing is just like I just wanted to understand how to interact with the Three.js API. I don't think it's super obvious, and I think there are I think it's a fantastic library. I think it's the best library that exists for what it does, but I don't think that it's very. I think there are some flaws and warts on it. It's not perfect. So like understanding those imperfections is critical if you ever want to build anything really cool. Um, Now, what is a GLB? I don't know. So let's check that out. Um, um, do you know what a GLB model is? Question mark. I don't know if I have to tell it that it's Three.js. It'll be good to know. Is a 3D model format web? Oh, that is awesome. Oh, it's a binary. That is cool. So it's a shame that it's a binary. Oh wow, supported tools like Blender and browsers that support. Um, is it possible to export a Three.js mesh to GLB. I don't even know if that question even makes any sense. Look how excited it is. Yes. Uh, so yes, it is possible. So they do have an exporter that does that. Um, so it seems like that would be a very, very good thing to be able to import and export GLT. That's so, man. Why would you? Why would it be called GLTF and then it's a GLB format? So, anyways, yeah, I'm sure that makes sense in some way, but man, there's some kind of gap. Um, um, Possible to convert a GLB into an STL. Yes, some additional using. I wonder if there's any 3D printers that can print GLB files. So there are online tools that you can do that with. I don't even remember what the first one is. It's possible using programmatically. So yeah. So it looks like that might be an awesome tool, right? To create is something that just moves things around from STL to GLTF, GLB, GLTF, and then all that. There's probably a lot of use for something like that. Okay, and then what's the other question I wanted to ask? I can't remember. Anyways, so that's pretty cool, and uh, you know, I don't know if this is the first name, Vikrant, or Kadam is the first name here, but you, my friend, um, have really expanded my mind, and I genuinely appreciate you. So that is that. So what we are trying to do now is try to figure out why the Three.js application that we have is broken. Um, and that will be something that's important to try to figure out. Um, so the very first step is like to open the tools and then go to the console and then hit reload, and cross your fingers that there's an error in here. And no, there's not. So unfortunately, that didn't work. So where are we in time? 8:15. So this is the kind of task that could just go on forever. So let's just, so we'll have to time box this. If I hit 15 minutes, we're going to try to bail. 20 minutes, no matter what, we're out. That's the plan. Who knows if that happens. Um, but let's go to our app component and see what happens in here. So the only thing that happens in app component, nothing happens in the app component, but we do pull in our viz component and our toolbox component. So 50-50 chance. Is the problem in toolbox or viz? I would imagine it's in viz. I believe the viz is this guy up here. Yeah, app viz. And then this guy down here is in the toolbox. So I would say my gut tells me it's a 99% chance that it's in some of the code from here. Now, I was thinking yesterday that the renderer runs every X amount of time. So if I could actually update the size and width of everything right before the renderer runs in some way, and that's super vague because I don't really understand what it is, but if I could do that, then that actually even fixes the resize issue, like anytime it resizes. And it should be fairly efficient to calculate the width and the height of the div, um, or whatever comparisons I need to do in that redraw, because that's fitting right into when the application is doing all that kind of stuff anyways, the way the browser works and all that. So let's go. I think I can go, yeah, to go to definition here in viz component. So after, so this is probably the problem, right? After view of it, of init may be too late now, or too early now in the process. It used to be that apparently everything it could calculate the viz div um, based on that, but now apparently it can't. So I'm guessing viz div. I like that name. This is the viz div, and it doesn't have any heights, but I'm guessing there's a class that sets its height. Yeah. So this is saying to set it to 50 height and 50 width, but apparently that is not being set when um, is not set yet. Um, so for some reason, it looks like there's some sort of timing. Maybe the viewport isn't set to height yet. I don't know. But let's set that just for funsies, like to 300px. Just see what happens. Okay, so we still didn't get anything, so I don't know. So what I will typically do is at this point, and I will tell you that at this point I'm like feeling like massive anxiety over this, like it's just sort of the nature of it. I was actually kind of pair programming with one of my coworkers the other day and yesterday, and we were talking about how like when you make a code change, like we were setting at outputs and all that stuff, and when you make a code change, like and then you go refresh, it's very very stressful. It almost feels like you get a sense of rejection if it doesn't work. Um, so that was funny. We were both laughing about that. Console.log. So it almost feels like when you're like 15 years old and you're asking a girl to go out on a date or something, um, and you get this like sense of, oh my gosh, what if she says no, blah, blah, blah. Um, so, um, you know, that is apparently we both felt that. So let's go to our console and see what happens. We should have had a console log. I don't know if did it oh, it's rebuilding. Man, it's slow. So the height is 0 of that. So that is weird, right? Like set dims is being called and the height is 0. So the next thing is, so basically I'm back to my initial sort of, wrong one. Let's see, alt left, or alt, yeah, left. That maybe after view init is just too early. So what other afters are there? Implements, after view init, after render, after content init, after view checked. So this one, after view checked, is a very interesting one because I believe it runs over and over and over again. So let's just double check that. Give me my blue one. There we go. Thank you. Now it just set it up here, which I don't like. I don't know why it does that, but I guess they had to make a choice. They probably either had to put it at the end or the beginning. Trying to figure out where you would want this thing is probably not. So this will just keep running. So you don't really want to do like, if you can avoid using this, you probably should. You checked. Inspect. It is building. And I don't know why my inspect didn't come up. See, so view checked is just running over and over and over again. It's already run. It's running, just like, and so this tries to happen 60 times a second. And so basically, if everything's going right, that's why this is like you don't want to try to do calculations or anything. Your application can become very janky. Is the used to be the phrase for it. But yeah, so like that's already run 1,000 times. So But just for funsies, let's go ahead and let this setup set dims and see what happens over here. Now, right now, we're just like throwing visdiv. Oh. Let's move that in there. Let's hit undo that. Move this in here. And let's just see what happens. I don't know. I don't have the vaguest idea what will happen. So let's hit inspect. So yeah, that is. So now, like if you look in the console log, it is getting the right height, but we're still not updating. So just for fun, I don't know what's going to happen if we do this, because we just don't even know. See, it shouldn't be marked as initialized. Whatever marked as initialized does until it's actually something other than 0. That's probably going to end up being the quick and dirty thing. I have no idea what this is going to do. Okay, so this is not the answer. Okay, this is not the answer. This is not the solution you're looking for. This is just a way to kind of prove that something's happening. I don't know. Whatever this is, whatever happened. But basically, what we don't want to do is, if this is 0, we don't want to run these things. Now, why? I would have thought we would get our dim, but we have made a step in the right direction. So I think the next step is probably to create a variable, a component level variable, initialized is equal to false. Now, I don't know why, but I like this. But that will throw a exception or a lint error in most linters, so it's not a habit I want to get into. Now, over here, I'm just going to say if dot. How do we do this? See, our client height is 0 for some reason at that point, which is weird. But we know for a fact that if this height is 0, it probably shouldn't, or is greater than 0, it should probably do this stuff. And then else, again, this is not our solution. This is just us sort of poking around. And we want to set this initialized to true. Equals true. And then otherwise, we want, that's it. Now in the after view checked, basically we want this exact same code. Okay, so this is only going to happen. Oh. And really, yeah, this is fine here. This will give me something to talk about here in a second. This dot initialized. So if it's not initialized, if it's greater, well, actually, we know it's not going to be initialized at this point, but we do want that code down here. Okay, so we can get rid of this. The only reason I didn't get rid of it before is because I wanted to be able to copy and paste it. So this is saying, hey, don't, if the height for some reason becomes, if this stuff starts working right again, then go ahead and just do it the correct way. Otherwise, I missed. I got rid of something I needed. Otherwise, do this. Now, you probably want to check this first because this is going to happen most of the time. So, like, if it's not initialized, you want to do that one first so that it doesn't do the calculation, right? Because actually checking the client for the height is kind of expensive, or is a lot more processing than just checking the memory to see if that's initialized. And see, we're going to set it true. So this should only happen once, and it should only happen once the div is initialized. Okay, so that seems to be working, and now we'll add a mesh, and that seems to be working, and we will let's just go ahead and do something to it. Just see if anything seems to be. I mean, we really do need to do a lot more testing, but so now I've rotated it, and now let's go ahead and set it as animated. Yeah, so everything seems to be working. We seem to have fixed it. I don't even think we need this code here. I believe it'll still work even without this. Basically, we'll just assume. Now, maybe we could add like an additional thing to say if the visualization's height that it thinks it's supposed to be, if they're different, then go ahead and do all this stuff again, and maybe that would just work, which, you know, that would be kind of cool. But so now we don't even need this anymore. And so we're just saying, hey, after the view is checked, so about 60 times a second, go ahead and check to see if we've been initialized. If we haven't been initialized, then go ahead and check to see if the client height is greater than 0. And if it is greater than 0, then do all this stuff. Now, maybe we could do an else and say if it's been initialized and the client height is different than that. But see, now that starts getting expensive, right? Like, but what we would get, and maybe we don't need to do like the attached DOM and the mark is initialized anymore. Who knows? We could dig in that, and it would just automatically resize if the user changes the size. But that should still work. And yeah, everything's yeah. I mean, like the basics seem to be working. I guess we should check our console log. It is crazy the view checked is. Oh, that's because this is in here. So that will be very distracting. So like it wouldn't. We can't be quite sure that the visualization that there's not some sort of weird console log. Okay, so we do have this error, which I hate this error, and I don't even think that it's a good error. Like, I don't think there's a very good use for this because it's just like, so what? So what if I changed after it was checked? Just draw it however it was. Because I think what this is saying is, hey, it was a 1, and then before I could change it, it became a 1.57. And I don't like that. And like this is like, I don't know why I care, right? I don't care if there was some sort of timing between when it decided to draw stuff and whatever the value was. But yeah, it's upset that this camera aspect changed to 1.4. I don't even know why it changed. But anyways, that I'm curious. Let's go to console. That's something we should not worry about right now. I mean, it's definitely something I would like to fix, but So it's in the mesh TS, um, mesh service dot type. Okay, that's weird. So that was a different place. But anyways, it is something we definitely need to fix. But this value, and then it happened here. So it's complaining in this mesh service, but apparently it got triggered over here in this perspective data.html. Apparently that value changed from 1 to 1.47, which I think is, it does recalculate that. Um, so I think it defaults to 1, which would be like a square. Like if this little viewport was completely square, that's the aspect ratio. And then since it's wider than, so the default is 1, but I believe it's that. Anyways, probably something to sort of dig into, because it's um, like something we'd have to fix probably in a production environment. So might as well, I'd rather sort of dig in and explore all that in this environment than that environment. The other thing we need to do is try to take care of all of these things. Um, Maybe not this one. Um, Probably this one. I probably need to figure this out. Because it's saying, what is it saying? That's a warning. And then it's saying that they've deprecated the concept of importing an X. So these are all things worth exploring and figuring out. I think these won't be much to them. I think all we have to do is delete them. I think they're just not being used. Um, and then the new angler can figure that out. So anyways, that is that. How long did this video? 26. I was supposed to bail at 20 no matter what. Happy coding, everybody. Bye.